My son filed harassment charges against me and my husband because we were making him go to college. Me and my son moved to US last year. I was a single mom for 16 years before I met and then married my husband. I saved up money so he can go to college. Where I came from, college is very important. We moved to a small town and my son found new friends. These friends, in my opinion, were not a good influence. I am used to polite and academically oriented kids back home. These new friends of his make fun of his books and his plans of going to college. Before his HS graduation, me and my husband took him to several unis in the state so he could get a feel for which one he would like to go to. Then after he graduated from HS, I told him I have about 20K saved up for college. He said it is not going to fit because tuition is pretty expensive nowadays. I suggested he can just go to a community college 20 minutes away and live at home to save money. He agreed, and I gave him access to the fund joint account. Long story short, he did not enroll himself and instead started partying a lot and used the money on expensive dates with his GF. He moved out and stopped talking to me. I worked hard to save that up for more than a decade, and I am upset that he wasted it in less than a year. Me and my husband went to his place and asked that he pay me back since it is specifically for college and not fun money. He called the police and filed harassment charges. I told the police to review the CCTV footage because the whole time I was talking to him through his ring cam, I was calm and reasonable and my husband was just standing behind me, not saying anything. I was outside the door talking, he never even opened the door to talk to me face to face. The police said there's nothing he can do if my son and his GF felt harassed. He can file a restraining order if he wants to. Back home, this is unforgivable to treat your parent like this. But here in US, I was treated almost like a criminal. My sister-in-law said it is my fault for confronting him and that the money is his to spend since I made him a joint account owner. Am I wrong? Edit. People cursing me because I said something about wanting to throw my chancla on my son's face. To be clear, I have never laid my hands or my flip-flops on him ever. But after what he did, my intrusive thoughts wants me to throw it, but of course I won't. If he called the cops on me just because I want to talk to him, what more if I threw my flip-flops on his face? His relationship with me before moving to US was fine. He knew my struggle as a single mom and he always tried to help me around the house. I was not strict at all. He was free to go out with friends anytime. He was even thrilled to have a father figure, and my husband always tried to make him feel included in everything. Update, I still have not heard from my son, and I don't expect him to reach out. But his GF's mother has called me asking if my house is still open to him. I asked her why. It turns out he hasn't paid his share of the last month's rent and his GF had to pay it for him. I said it is not my problem and he is not welcome anymore in my house since he is an adult. The GF's mom said, "What kind of mother would not extend help to his teenage son?" She further insulted me and said now she knows why he left me. At this point, I really don't care anymore. I tried to help him get a good start in life, but he wasted it. Aside from the 20K, he lived rent-free in the house, free food, free phone, car, gas money, and I pay all the utility bills and his health insurance. All I asked is that he focus on his studies, finish at least an associate's degree so he can get a decent job and be fully independent from me ASAP. For some who asked why college is so important to me as an immigrant, we are held under certain standards. We have to prove to USCIS that we will not become a public charge, meaning we won't rely on any government aid. I want him to be able to be a good immigrant and become productive. I don't even know if he can become a citizen if he makes below poverty income. I was just trying to make sure he gets to live a good life. Some of you asked if he even wanted to go to college. Back when we were in our home country, he begged me to send him to college no matter what. P.S. The harassment charge was closed for lack of evidence of harassment. A lot of what he said were lies. Edit. Another thing that gave me chills was when he moved out, it was the middle of the night and me and my husband were both asleep. My son left the front door hanging open. I saw it in the camera. We live in a small town, but there's a lot of crime in our area. Someone could have gone in and done something bad. I destroyed my ex-boyfriend's Lego sets and gave him 1 week to move out after he threw away my teddy bear. I just need to vent. I 24F have been living with my 25M now ex-boyfriend for about 8 months now. I have a teddy bear that my grandmother gave to me when I was younger. It has no monetary alum, but the sentimental value is more important. When I was 8, she gave it to Mai while she was struggling with cancer. It was stage 4 and spread quickly and there was nothing they could do. She gave me a teddy bear and told me to take care of it and I could talk to the teddy bear whenever I missed her. She got one of those talking mics put in it and it would say, "I hope you're feeling loved today because I love you more than all the stars in the sky and all the fish in the sea, and you mean the world to me." She would say that all time when I would spend the night. He knows how much it means to me, I told him. He's seen me hugging the bear and sitting outside to talk to my grandma when I was sad or just needed to vent without judgment or even a response. 2 days ago, he decided that it was raggedy and not appealing to look at. I can admit, Bear has been through it. I carried it around with me everywhere for 2 years. He would go in my book bag when I went to school, went to dance class with me. He even went out of town when I had cheer meets when I got into high school. My cousin pulled out one of his eyes when I was 10, and he's missing an arm when my brother got mad at me and cut it off. It was sewn back on and then ripped off again. You get it. But he was mine. I found a button that was exactly like his from some bear at a Goodwill and was going to sew it in his eye. I went to my room. We have separate bedrooms. I can decorate my space how I want and have my workspace, and the same for him, but we always sleep together. I just never had my own room and have only been living alone for 2 years, so I want to keep that for a while. I went in there to do it, and he wasn't on my bed. I went scouring for him for hours, and he watched me. I started to cry because that was the last thing she gave me and she made special for me. He finally told me he threw it away because it was disgusting and he hated coming in my room and seeing it. I got so mad and I felt so betrayed. He likes to spend time on Legos and building them. He's built the Eiffel Tower, the Harry Potter Tower, a cherry blossom tree, and dozens of other. I went to his room and I destroyed them all. I threw the pieces around the room and out the window and in the garbage. He came in screaming at me and saying how dare I touch his things he bought with his money, and he spent hours on it. I told him he can GTFO and spend hours rebuilding it someplace else because I'm done with him. He started telling me I was overreacting and whatever else. I forget a lot of the argument because I was pissed. I told him he had 1 week to get his things out and move out, but he wasn't staying here while it happened. He started telling me that I couldn't do that, and he paid bills. I told him I really don't give a shit and to get out or I'd call the police. We have mutual friends, and he's told them a completely different story because 2 have texted me asking, how could I do that to him? And I really don't care to clear it up. In the moment, I didn't feel bad, but now I kind of do because that's his hobby, but I was so hurt and betrayed by what he did. He's even called me a few times saying he'll get me another, and we can work on things and don't throw away 3 years over a mistake, but I am completely disgusted by him. OPE updated, May 9th, 2024. Same post. Update. I want to say thank you to all the people who told me not to give up on finding my bear, because I went out in that dumpster for 3 hours with my sister, my best friend, and even a neighbor came down to help when I told him what happened. And I fucking found it. I am so relieved and beyond happy. Also, I love all the men calling me crazy and he dodged a bullet and I committed a crime and he should call the police, take me to court as if he didn't go into my personal space and throw away my property because he didn't like my property in my personal space. He's lucky that's all I did and I didn't sue him for it. Men are telling me I committed a crime, as if he didn't, that I'm crazy for destroying his things, but he isn't, that I'm immature for being upset that he threw the last thing I have of my grandmother out. But he can buy replicas of the same Harry Potter Lego set until the day he dies if he wants to, but I'm the worst person to ever walk this planet. It's insane. Anyway, I found it. He's air drying. I'm going to sew the button in over the weekend. My dad and brother will be here while he comes to get his stuff, and that's that. I'm free of someone who doesn't respect my space or how I feel. Oh, and I didn't come here to ask if I was an AH. I don't care if I was LOL. Now that I found my bear, I really don't care and can't wait to have my apartment to myself again. Oh, one more thing, I did tell our mutual friends what he did. I took a picture of all of us digging through the trash to find my bear. I took a picture of the bear and the state he was in after I found him and told them, thank you for taking his side and not even trying to figure out the full situation. He threw away my property, so I took away his hobby. I also sent the texts of him begging me to take him back and admitted what he did. How he watched me cry for hours while I looked for it, knowing he threw it out. He watched me be distressed and didn't care. Those friends have texted me saying he said I cheated on him, and when he didn't take me back, I went crazy.